started because I know your amazing children are in classrooms with teachers at 6 o'clock on a Thursday night. So we will go ahead and get started. Welcome. Thank you so much for coming to the annual State of the School. For a little context, this for me is the first time we've done the State of the School in person. The last 2 years have been via Zoom, and they were very long. Amazing. We did such a good job, and we filled it with so much information. Thank you. But they were long. They were about 45 minutes to an hour, filled with information about the program and the teachers and the students, and we thought, why don't we try something different this year? We get to be back together in person, and so we thought we would give you some information at the beginning and then have you go experience the people and the place and the programs that your children experience every single day, hence the open house. So it's intentionally set up this way so that we can articulate some of our goals and our finances and where we are, but also give you a chance to go with your child and experience those amazing aspects of our school. So thank you for joining us. We are going to jump right in, and I'm going to introduce Karen Manueli, who is the chair of the Seacrest Board of Trustees.
Good evening, everyone. First, I'd like to apologize. As you can see, I was not elected to be board chair because of my public speaking strengths, so bear with me. But we will get started. So, yes, my name's Karen Manueli. I'm currently in my second year of a 3-year term as chair of the Board of Trustees at Seacrest School. I'm also the mother of a 7th grader named Maya, and we've been at Seacrest since Maya started in kindergarten. So yeah, we've been here a long time. I'm here tonight to give you a high-level overview of what the Board of Trustees is all about. So here, Seacrest School Board of Trustees upholds and promotes the mission of Seacrest School, holding fiduciary responsibility for the school's long-term health. So I'm not going to name them all, but as you can see, this is the list of all our trustees that I have the pleasure of working and serving with. So these are the Board of Trustees' key roles: planning, finance, policy, collaboration. So for planning, the board in partnership with the head of school plan and create the school's strategic plan. It's the head of school and her team that executes the plan. And Lauren will speak a little bit more on the strategic plan in a few minutes. For finance, we oversee the school's financial assets, we approve the school's annual budget, and we set tuition, which Jackie will talk a little bit more about in a little bit. And policy. So policy, the board sets policies for the operations of the school. It's the responsibility of the head of school to implement these policies, to oversee daily operations and the management of the school. And she manages disciplinary and personnel issues, as well as all administrative and admission decisions. And finally, collaboration. The board supports, retains, and advises the head of school. We select and we annually evaluate the head of school. So we have 9 committees on the Board of Trustees. They are mostly, they're all comprised, of course, of trustees, but they also have non-trustees as part of the committee. They all also include Lauren and myself, so we sit on every single one of these committees. They work in partnership with each other and the head of school to look closely at the mission and the long-term vision of the school. Most are self-explanatory, I would say, but take, for instance, the Committee on Trustees. That one was always one that people ask about. And with this one, what we do is we discuss where there's gaps in the within the board, and we make recommendations to recruit certain skill sets, and we also establish succession plans. So the strategic planning one as well, we're in the process of creating a new one with the final draft going out to the board for approval in January 2024. So Lauren, again, will talk a little bit more about that. That's all for me. So at a high level, that's what the board does. Some of you have asked how to become more involved, and I recommend do what I did. Volunteer as much as you can, get to know the teachers and the staff members, join the Parents Association, and chair one of their committees. Never did it cross my mind that I would be board chair, but here I am. And now without further ado, Lauren.
Thanks, Karen. Okay, so we're gonna look back at the goals that we set forth at the beginning of the school year. Actually, this is a slide from last year's State of the School, that awesome hour and 6-minute Zoom that you all remember all of the details from. But these were the goals that we set forth for this year. And the overall institutional theme was putting students at the center, and especially coming out of COVID. There were a lot of things that were really challenging as educators that didn't feel student-centered, but were necessities in COVID. And so when we thought about our theme for this year, we said we want to take our kids and their experience and put that lens over every decision that we are making for the school year. So the number one goal was to think about our students and put that lens on all the decisions from finance to facilities, the curriculum, the schedule of the day, how they walk between classes, those chairs, especially if you have a primary or secondary student, what kind of seat are they sitting in to learn? Do we have the right amount of natural light? The enrichment experiences, the field experiences, staffing. We added a school counselor, we increased our student learning support staff, making sure that there's hot lunch, piloting transportation, all of these things that we do every day. We don't just do happenstance. Sometimes there's a sinkhole and we think, this might be an opportunity to call our insurance agent and see if we can have some transportation. But we always think about how could this better the student experience? What could this do if the school has transportation, and where could that grow? It's obviously not with this first pilot project, but what could it mean if we could put kids on a bus and take them down to the water with Kate Dickey to immediately have field experiences? So every decision that we've been making is really through the lens of your child's experience. And no, that's really simple to say and really complex to put into action, because we have 4-year-olds and we have 14-year-olds, and their needs and wants and desires and the things that excite them about learning and the kind of chair that they might want to sit in and how far they can walk in a transition between a class is very different. Sometimes it's very the same, to be honest. Some of our 8th graders and our JKers are very similar, but we have really mature, like 4th graders that may feel differently and need a different experience. Our second goal was, out of COVID, to really build upon the uniqueness of a Seacrest community JK through 8 experience. If you were with us last year, you know so much of the school year was really isolated for about 2.5 years into cohorts, and we wanted to make sure that we were really focusing on bringing our student body community back together and our whole parent community. That includes everything from bringing back a robust buddy program, all school assemblies and celebrations, leaning into marine and coastal science more. That's a really unique Seacrest program, obviously because of where we're located. Enrichment is not an extra. I'm just gonna leave that there for a moment. We had a new family that joined us this year, and I was talking to them the other day, and they said that amazing quote. It just is so nice that enrichment is not an extra. It's really unfortunate, but a lot of schools right now, enrichments are extra. They are the first thing to get cut. We firmly believe that we could not help educate your child without exposing them to music and art and performing arts and makers and Spanish and marine science and physical education and leadership and all of those things that we're trying to jam into our schedule. We believe that's what makes future leaders and future learners. And so I loved that quote that they said, that you know what's really different is that explorations, enrichment is not extra. Our service to the local community, we've been able to really re-engage with our amazing nonprofits right here on the coast, with Coastside Gives, Coastside Hope, Alice, Table of Plenty, to just name a few, Coastside Pride, and build more relationships, especially with our upper school students, getting our students back out in the community and reminding them the value and the importance of service. And then finally, a really amazing opportunity to reinvigorate and bring back our parent association. And all of the activities they're doing. I know we have a dance tomorrow night. They've done so many things. And while those things may, on the surface, feel trivial, they're community bonders. We're in this together. As a parent myself, we're part of a small community, and at Seacrest, we're part of a smaller community. We've been through a lot together in the last few years, in the last few weeks. And it's important that we have these opportunities to come together to celebrate and to have traditions. Our third was to create more student-centered spaces on campus. We realized that we were wildly and sometimes ridiculously creative with where we put your children and teachers in masks in places. Some of you may remember our very chic parking lot cafe in the parking lot over there where kids ate in a wedding tent in COVID, and we wanted to take our spaces and start looking, how do we make sure that we're not creating spaces that are adult designed, adult centered, and really make sure that our spaces are for our kids. So you saw things like the Reef, which is an amazing addition. It opened up our schedule in such remarkable ways, and just having a consistent all-weather place for them to eat. Other breakout rooms for student learning support. Our primary and secondary classrooms got refurbished with eco-friendly and better for our heat. I can't think of the name, Mr. Geller. Radiant, thank you, heat. Better for our radiant heat. They have flexible furniture. Our upper school is next. And then our newest addition with our library. Please take a moment to check out the beautiful and inspiring library. You may think in your head, it's gorgeous, it's really cool. There was a library before. There was not a library before. There was a room with a lot of books. Those books were not categorized. Those books were very out of date. You couldn't walk in and say, I'm interested in dinosaurs. Where is a book on dinosaurs? You had to search through hundreds of books and find. Kids get to visit the library. There's an online portal. They get to check out books. Teachers can reserve books that they want to bring into their classrooms. The library was an initial project that you helped support last year, but we have allocated funds for the next 5 years to continue to add to the library, to grow our library, to have differentiated reading levels for our students. And what's so exciting is you see kids stop by the library and say, do you have a book, or I'm interested in this, and we can hand them one. And it's really remarkable, so I recommend stopping by. And our last goal for the year was to retain and continue to develop our teachers' skills, to meet the learning complexities in our classroom, and really keep our teachers. I know that may sound brazen, but we want to keep our teachers. If the pandemic showed us anything, is that teachers were not necessarily the highest valued of our society throughout the pandemic. They were asked and told to go directly back from work. We understand that we can only pay teachers a certain amount, and we want them to live and be among us in our community. So the Board of Trustees and Jackie and myself are actively looking at ways that we can make our teachers' lives more sustainable and have them stay here. Some of the things that we did this year internally as a faculty were to really focus on the faculty's overall health and wellness. We're doing a school-wide book club that focuses on the challenges and the surprises and the benefits of being a teacher. We provided self-care bonuses for every teacher to invest in themselves, in their own self-care. We added back remission for faculty students. We added additional support staff, including aides and adjunct support. We provided a calendar, as some of you noticed and may feel, that honors a teacher's life and gives them a day to prepare for things like conferences, a day to thoughtfully write report cards so they're not doing it at 10 o'clock at night after they've taught your kids all day. And we have meetings every week that are really focused on teachers' own professional development and growth and understanding the complexities that all of our children bring to them every day. So that's a little bit of looking back of the goals that we had for this year and a touch point. We're only at the halfway point of where we are this year. This year, we also opened so many new spaces and we're able to bring back programs like Beloved Band. You have a child that maybe was handed, I don't know, a clarinet or a trombone. You are welcome that you have that. If you do not now and you are laughing because you are in the front row and you have little kids, you remember that, and I will remind you when your kid gets a trombone or a trumpet. But here's just a fun snapshot of a few things. This bottom corner down here is one of my favorites. We started a tradition last year of a stone soup lunch right before the Thanksgiving break, and to have all, including faculty, over 300 sit and eat a meal together after so many years of 6 feet apart and isolated was still to this day my highlight of the year. Okay. Looking forward, next year we have a very large year for the school. The school is embarking on its new strategic plan and we are up for accreditation. Normally, those things do not necessarily happen at the same time, but a few things happen. One, there was a pandemic, and if you didn't remember, there was a pandemic and Seacrest got a new head of school. In my first year, the strategic plan expired. It was a 7-year plan. And myself and the board of trustees decided after 1 year, mostly in COVID, we were gonna pause and not write a strategic plan. I didn't feel that I had the bandwidth, and I also didn't feel I had enough understanding of this community to chart the next direction or the next chapter. During that time, in the second year, our accreditation through California Association of Independent Schools and the Western Association of Schools and Colleges expires. It doesn't expire, it goes on to cycles. So there's 7-year cycles and our cycle stopped. They were so backlogged in COVID, they pushed everyone a year. So next year, we will be doing our strategic plan and our accreditation. It can seem like a lot, but actually they very much mirror and talk to each other. For our strategic plan, we have 2 trustees that have taken on chairing the strategic planning committee, and we went forth to hire a firm. We settled on leadership and design. You may have read a little bit about them, and we chose them really because of their approach. They do not have a very linear approach. They do not believe that a strategic plan should be published and have 5 goals with 10 sub-goals and be a really strict and finite document, because we just had COVID. And if on your strategic plan was something that wasn't about a pandemic, you had to pivot and adjust. So their approach is really to create a compass and not a map, a directional guide for the school for the next 3 to 6 years. We have a committee of 16 members that is comprised of trustees, myself, a few admin, teachers, parents, community members, and even an alumnus. Those 16 members have met and have started the strategic planning process. The process will involve multiple interviews within the community and then community days, which I'll talk about in a little bit. The process of the strategic plan is really getting school-wide input into the direction that the school will be taking over the next few years. As you can see, we're right there in the middle in winter, spring. In the fall of next year, we'll have a community day. There will be a draft of the plan. As Karen mentioned, it gets approved by the board in January, and at this meeting next year, we will unveil the strategic plan for the next 3 to 5 years of Seacrest School. The accreditation process is designed to assist schools in reviewing and clarifying the school's purpose and goals for students and to develop a plan to accomplish these goals. How the process works is we write a self-study report based on 16 standards with responses to questions about every single aspect of the school. It wants to know about governance, it wants to know about me, it wants to know about finance, but it really focuses on what we're teaching and how we're teaching. It's a very heavy-handed project for our teachers to articulate our learning goals, our assessments, and really how we reach and teach every child. It's a super healthy thing for a school to go through every so many years to really hone in on your practice. Once the report is submitted, it's submitted on December 1st, we will have a visiting accreditation team come out in the spring. This is spring of 2024. They interview teachers, they're here for 3 days, they look at our report, they ask questions, and then we get the accreditation. Seacrest School has always received a full accreditation. That is a 7-year term, and there's a midterm check-in point that really is just an interview with me and a report that'll happen about 3.5 years in. So you'll hear more about the accreditation going into next year, but next year's big focus is going to be really auditing every aspect of the school, how we're doing, how we're reaching students, and our goals looking forward. Okay, that was a lot of information. Jackie, it gets more exciting because finance is next, so just take a deep breath, it gets even more exciting. Jackie Covier, our CFO, is going to talk to you about the money.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? So I'm going to try to breeze through this fairly quick. If you know me, you know that I tend to speak really fast, so bear with me. So as you know, Seacrest School is a nonprofit organization, and therefore you can see from this chart, our expenses and our revenue essentially equal each other. We do not receive any funding from the government or any other organization, like a public school would or a parochial school. We're fully self-sufficient and fully funded by ourselves. You can see on the left that tuition makes up 87% of our revenue. So that is the bread and butter of what drives our school. Fundraising is also an important contribution to our bottom line. It really helps us to bridge the gap in our operating expenses. Tuition revenue is reported here net of flexible tuition awards and staff remission. About 25% of our students receive some sort of aid from the school. And this really helps to make a Seacrest education affordable for many people in our community with different backgrounds. Our budget for flexible tuition this year was $1.3 million. Let's see, let me go back real quick. On the expense side, you can see salary and benefits are the lion's share of our expenses. It's no surprise because obviously our staff is the critical part to help the school deliver on its mission every day. And here's a tuition comparison chart which shows Seacrest tuition as compared with independent peer schools in our area. Seacrest School is the green line, the second to the right, so we are the second least expensive, with Wilkinson as the only school that is less expensive than us. The average tuition for independent schools in our area is over $36,000 this year, which is 44% higher than we're charging. And what I love about this chart is that it really demonstrates that the school has been creative in trying to offer a robust program, but keep it within reach for more people in our community. So this is, now we're looking forward to next year. So as Lauren mentioned, the board did just approve our budget for next school year. You can see the largest increase in operating expenses is within salaries and benefits. We've increased about $435,000, and that's mainly going to increasing salaries for the existing teachers that we have and bringing on some additional resources to help with students. Let's see. So, the $1 million slide. So, next year's tuition rate has been set at $26,820. This was set by the board with the finance committee sort of leads the charge on the budget and the tuition setting. The board considered many different factors, particularly the high rates of inflation that our entire community has been carrying the last year. So we really tried to keep the tuition increase as low as possible while still being able to deliver on all the program initiatives that we have going on next year. Next year's budget has flexible tuition and staff remission at $1.4 million, which is a 12% increase from this school year. So I tried to talk fast to get through it. And if you have any questions, of course, anytime, don't hesitate to reach out. And I'll hand it back to you.
Okay, I have a few to-dos, so this is the part to really focus on. Re-enrollment tomorrow morning, to no surprise, after we bedazzled you with your children's teachers, you will get a re-enrollment contract in your email box at 10 a.m. If you know, yes, I love Seacrest, I want to go back to Seacrest, if you could take 5 minutes and re-enroll. We cannot plan, I cannot give out teacher salaries, anything until we know how many students we're serving. If you are on the fence, just email me. Let's have a conversation, let's talk about it. But if you know that you want to stick with us, it's the greatest gift you can give because we can start then putting all of our plans in place for next year with this budget. So re-enrollment will go out and it lasts through next week. A huge save the date, as I mentioned before, Leadership in Design, their process for the strategic plan for your child's school is to hear from you. So there'll be lots of opportunities, but the first one is March 2nd. That is the Thursday we get back from winter break. There'll be an 8 a.m. in-person session in the REAP and a 6 p.m. Zoom session, and that's just to get your feedback. You can give all of it. We should start doing this. We should stop doing this. This is what's really important to me. We want a strategic plan that represents the wants and the needs of you, our community. So please, please put this on your calendar to participate. Come party with us. We are throwing a party. This is not kid friendly. I'm going to list the activities, and then we can have a quiz at the end if you think it's kid-friendly. The REAP will be set up like a pub. There will be a corned beef and cabbage dinner. There is an Irish band. There is a whiskey tasting. The amazing Dad's Club is hosting a ping pong tournament. There's a DJ. I think there's another few bars set up. This is not a kid-friendly event. So come spend St. Patrick's Day with us. The school used to have an annual gala. We used to have auction items. It had a high ticket price. There was a silent auction and a live auction. And we felt that we wanted to still have a party and get together, but to have a lower ticket price, a more casual event, and not always be hitting you up for money. You will not be hit up for money at this event. You may the next day, but at the event, I will not ask you for any money. You can invite your friends. In fact, this gym is massive. The capacity is 940. Invite whoever you would like, as long as they're over 21. So hopefully we will see you on St. Patrick's Day. Events coming up for the whole family. Our annual Ginger Ribbon Run will be May 5th, an attachment to Coastside Gives on May 4th. This is an awesome opportunity. If you're new to the school, the kids run the track. The money that we raise for each path they go around goes directly to flexible tuition. This is a tradition that's been with the school since its founding. It's amazing. We also have a whole school musical the week of May 23rd. It's down the street at Coastal Rep. The big kids have already started singing. They're amazing. We'll get them on key by May 23rd. They're adorable. Your little kids are in it too. The big kids, they frown and they wear black and they move the scenery and you can take a picture at the end. It's amazing. And then finally, on June 2nd, we graduate our 8th grade class. All of these dates you will get a million times in the Sunday Wave. And lastly, we started a super fun tradition last year and we're keeping it this year. Instead of having individual class parties, we end the school year with an all-school carnival. If you're new to this school, don't plan on leaving for your trip on June 7th because we do an all-school carnival out here on the field. There's food, games, music. It's for the whole family. It's a great way to end the year and kick off summer. So, those are all the things that are to come. I know June may seem far away. We may have an internal count, but you don't worry about that. Here's what you're gonna do. You're going to go get your child because you don't want your kid to be the one kid that's sitting in the classroom. So I promise the teachers, I would say, you will go get your child. Go with your child, let them show you all the amazing things they learned, but also ask them, where do you have makers? Where do you have music? Where do you go to marine science? Make sure they show you all of those amazing enrichments that are not extras around our campus. And the one last thing I'm gonna say is go visit next year's teacher. That's what's so cool about Seacrest. They're right here. So while you may not be thinking quite yet about next year, if you have a 3rd grader, walk down the hall and go check out what 4th grade is doing. Thank you so much for coming. We're only 3 minutes behind. Walk quickly to get your children.